This video is brought to you by Big Idea Design. They make titanium pocket tools and pins, like the bit bar, which is a screwdriver with a pocket clip and bit storage in the handle, and the TPT and the TPT slide, which hold a standard utility knife blade. They also recently launched a titanium EDC wrench and offer pins like the TI Click, TI Arto EDC, and the TI Pocket Pro. To learn more about Big Idea Design, click the links in the description, and you can also use the coupon code BESTDAMNEDC for $5 off any purchase over $50. And if you do, it'll help support the show. Hey everybody, welcome back. My name is Taylor Martin. This is the Best Damn EDC, and it's time for another EDC Weekly. And if you're new here, I start each of the weekly shows off with community announcements because it is a community show, and there's often a lot to talk about. So if you don't want to hear these announcements, just skip forward. But just know that if you're not listening to these announcements, you're missing out on giveaways and who won those giveaways and all sorts of other goodies that are happening here at the show and behind the scenes. First up, last week I said that I was giving away a Best Damn EDC version of the Gill Ruck V2, and I said guess a number between 0 and 1000. The number that I selected using Google, a random number, is 853, and Austin Pace guessed 854. He was the closest, so he won. Congratulations, Austin. I will be in touch. Just to keep the ball rolling, we're going to do another one of these with the Best Damn EDC Gill Ruck. This is up for grabs. If you want to know how to win this in this video, just watch the video. I will explain it somewhere throughout this long video. All right, with that stuff out of the way, I've got a few things coming up. First up is this watch right here. This is the Spinnaker Rec. It's actually launching the pre-order for this watch, or the sign up for this watch starts today. This is the new Spinnaker Rec, so they've had a different version of this in the past. This is the new one. This is the bronzed version. Quite like the way it looks, but this video will be going up in a couple of days. I shot it weeks ago. The embargo lifted today. And this is the EDC Weekly day, so it's not getting uploaded today. I will upload it either Sunday or Monday. I've got a baby shower this weekend and friends in town, and I don't know that I'll have time to finish the video before then. Also, I've had some Mech Army stuff for a very long time, and I'm finally going to be getting around to doing the Mech Army video, and I've got some special stuff that I want to show you next week. This will be going up 100% next week. It's from Coke Tools. This is the KTC-2. There's a pre-order open for this right now. It is not made. This is the only one. This is a prototype. He was kind enough to send me the only prototype he has, and I want to show you guys what this knife is all about. It's actually a multi-tool. It's very, very cool. It's actually going to be manufactured by We Knives, so if you want to see more about this, as well as the Duo X, which is another prototype, and the POS tool, be sure to keep an eye out for the Coke Tools feature that I'm doing next week. But with that stuff out of the way, it's time to get the show started. This week, there was no theme at all, just really sick carries. I went through all the submissions, picked out some of the best photos, but also some of the best gear out there. Some of the carries this week make me extremely jealous. So with that said, let's do the thing. Because I did the budget EDC this week for Amazon, I want to do a budget-themed EDC Weekly next Friday. So you have about a week. If you already submitted a budget EDC, don't worry, you're already entered. But if you want to resubmit or you have a budget EDC that you have not submitted, go ahead, submit. That's all you have to do. Go to edcw.co, submit your EDC, and you're entered. And if it is a budget EDC, it has a chance to be featured next week. One more thing, I just want to say thank you to all the new Patreon supporters. You're amazing. You guys are the best. Thank you so much. You're helping keep the lights on here. Really, honestly, you're paying the rent for this new set, which is amazing. But also, I'm going to restructure Patreon coming up very, very soon. If you already signed up, just be on the lookout for changes that are going to happen. I'm basically going to simplify everything. I might drop one of the tiers that's available, but nothing really changes all that much. I'm just going to make it a little simpler for me because I have so many irons in the fire. It's kind of hard to keep up with sometimes. Thank you again. You guys are awesome. On that note, first up, we have a submission from Ehud Shalev. I don't know how to say that. Ehud? No idea. No clue. You can find him over on Instagram at Ehudster. I don't know. This is a very, very basic photo. Very slim and neat EDC, and it's perfectly themed. Everything's got an orangey yellow tone, and this is just sick. And the rest of the Instagram feed is about the same. It's a really neat account. I highly suggest you go follow them if you're interested in gear at all. First up, we have the Lum-Tec Copper Tool AAA flashlight. Next to that is the Brassworks BW Pry Bar, one of my favorite tools in my collection. There's also the Machine Era Company Brass Pin and a Victorinox 2017 limited edition Pioneer Nespresso. And underneath everything is a vintage leather wallet, which has no brand. Like I said, very simple carry. That's what he carries every day. At least that's what he says he carries. No keys in this, but I imagine it's kind of a situation like me where I have keys on me, but most of the time if I have a backpack, They're in the backpack. He says, "This is my first submission. I'm relatively new to the EDC game and my collection mostly focuses on vintage Victorinox knives. I usually carry a Swiss Army knife with me every day accompanied by a pry tool, CRKT Prima, Viva, or the excellent BW Brassworks, a flashlight, a pin, and a larger knife at times. I really love the machine era brass pin. It's so well made and I know it will last forever. My next goal is to buy a custom Swiss Army knife, specifically an Electrician X from John over at Brassworks. Thanks, Ehud?" I don't know how to say your name, man. This is a sick carry. It's as basic as it gets. You've got just your core essentials, and everything's either brass or copper, got an orange tone. This is sick. It's a really nice way to theme things that aren't too themed where you're giving up stuff you actually like. Like, you're not going all brass or all copper. You're going with kind of the color tone of everything, which is really neat. So I really like this. Y'all have a really neat taste for gear. I actually did not even retouch this photo. I retouch most photos that are submitted to the weekly. I didn't touch this one at all because your edit was better than what I was going to do to it. So kudos to you. You now have a second entry into this month's giveaway. Next up, we have a submission from Thomas Moore. You can find him over on Instagram at emore_976. And this photo stuck out to me just because it was composed well. I like the little placemat or floor mat. It looks like a placemat for a table, like a little wicker placemat. I think the photo was composed really well. The white balance was pretty off to begin with, and I almost didn't select it because I wasn't sure I could fix the colors, but I threw it into Lightroom. I did a little color correction, and this photo actually turned out great. It's really, really nice. First up, we have his phone of choice, which is the iPhone XS. He keeps that in a Mouse Limitless 2.0 case in walnut. He also has the Parker IM rollerball pin, which is next to that, and beside that is his wallet, which is the Popov Leather 5-card wallet in driftwood. Beneath that is his KeySmart Rugged, and inside that he has a Griffin pocket tool. At the very bottom of the photo is his knife, which is the Benchmade North Fork, and at the top is his firearm, which is the Glock 19X. And I don't think that's how you're supposed to use the KeySmart Rugged. I think you're supposed to use those washers to like even it out. It can't pivot very well if it's like that because that's how a friction folder works. Like it pinches the stuff that's inside it. Because when you pull the Griffin pocket tool out, I think the pivot probably gets pretty loose, right? Or am I wrong there? It just looked funny, but I mean, if it works, it works. It would just bug me if the two sides of the KeySmart weren't perpendicular because I've had that problem a lot. Anyway, Thomas says, "I use the mouse case on my phone because it's slim and stylish case that offers a lot of protection for my phone when I drop it." Don't drop your phone. I chose to use the Parker IM pen because I write reports by hand a lot for work, and the way the pen sits in my pocket helps mitigate my clothes being ruined if the insert fails. I bought the Popov 5-card wallet because I had gone through about 4 cheap wallets in one year and was tired of wasting money on cheap wallets. I used the KeySmart Rugged because I thought I messed up, but it says because. It keeps my keys nice and organized on top of holding my Griffin pocket tool. I don't really find myself needing a bona fide multi-tool that often, and when I do, it's typically to screw something down or pry something open, so the Griffin pocket tool does the trick 99% of the time. Nothing really special about the Benchmade North Fork, just a nice EDC knife that handles the task of opening packages. The Glock 19X is by far the most important part of my EDC. I chose it because I'm a Glock fanboy, and it's basically a Glock 19 that holds 18 rounds. I use Federal HST 147 grain for carry, and I love them. I carry my Glock 19X in a Kydex Mexican carry holster, simply because it allows me to conceal it a lot easier, and I never have to worry about reholstering accidents. Well, I don't know anything about reholstering accidents, but I like this carry. I like that knife. I've almost purchased the North Fork several times just walking through REI and seeing it. The wood handles or the wood scales on the North Fork just speak to me. So they the same thing with the same thing with the Mini Crooked River. Wood handles, knives, just they do something for me. And actually last night I impulse bought the Sword peasant knife with the wood handles, which I heard the wood handles on those aren't great, but if you give them a little sanding job, maybe they're okay. I don't know, but I just had to. It looks sick. Anyway, thank you, Thomas, for sharing. You now have a second entry into this month's giveaway. All right, next up, we have a submission from Michael Gill. You can find him over on Instagram at mgill1600, and I just have to give Michael some props here. He has tried harder than probably anybody to get featured on the EDC Weekly, and he has bought so much gear lately. It's unreal how much stuff he's bought, and it's not just to get featured on the weekly. He's actually about to start his own YouTube channel, so he's building up supply or stock so he can make videos, So I commend him for that. I know how hard that can be. Also, he's been dedicated to submitting a ton of different EDCs with all the stuff he carries, and he explains why there are so many different ones in the description. But first up in the top right of the photo, we had the Kaiser Sheepdog, and below that is the key bar, also in copper, which it looks like he has the magnet on that as well, but he doesn't mention that in the description. His pin of choice is the Karas Customs Retract in copper. He also has a copper chapstick tube and an Olight S1R2 baton, also in copper. He also didn't list the screwdriver here, which is, I believe, the Scout Leather Company, or Scout Leather Company screwdriver in copper, or hex bit screwdriver in copper. Below that is the Leatherman Crunch, which is an old school Leatherman. And at the bottom is the Mastrop Ferrum Forge Crux, which is a secondary knife. And then underneath everything is just a generic handkerchief. So yeah, all the time and effort he puts into these submissions, he doesn't even list some of the stuff that's in the photo, like the Magnet and the Scout Leather Company hex bit driver. Regardless, really cool carry, themed really well. You've got silvers and copper, orangey copper, and then you have the Ferrum Forge in the bottom that's not really themed at all. Anyway, Michael says, so I rotate my gear daily. I've been a member of the EDC community and have accumulated several truckloads of gear throughout that time. I carry things that make me happy, and this particular loadout is from a work day. I usually carry some form of Leatherman most days. Today it is the Leatherman Crunch. The fact that this thing has locking pliers is an engineering marvel. This is one of my all-time favorite models. I honestly can't count the times that Leatherman has saved the day. This Karas Custom Retract literally changed my life. I never leave home without it. It accepts nearly all refills, particularly the Pilot G2, and the added weight of the copper makes it feel right in the hand. I cannot say enough good things about this pin. The Olight S1R2 baton is, simply put, the best EDC flashlight ever built. That's a fact, Jack. I can't say that I disagree. I think it's a phenomenal flashlight, but what I tend to put in my pocket a lot of the time is the S1R or S2R2 baton instead of the S1R. If I'm going to carry something that diameter, I don't mind having something just a little bit longer and having more runtime and so on and so forth. I recently acquired the Kaiser Sheepdog. Although it is large and heavy, I am large and heavy, so it fits my meat hook hands like a glove. Nice. I love the action, and the cool factor is awesome as well. This is a total home run. The Ferrum Forge Mastrop collaboration Crux is my latest acquisition. I have really gotten into titanium frame lock flippers lately, and this thing does not disappoint. It's running on a Wheatley chassis, so it's an absolute home run as well. Oh, here you go. The Scout Leather Company's copper driver is fantastic for taking knives apart for maintenance. And since that is one of my favorite hobbies, I almost always have this thing on me, plus it's a great fidget toy. My wife bought me this chapstick tube for my birthday. I love copper, and it helps me to know for sure that it's in my pocket. I live about 30 minutes from Keybar HQ, so when I ordered mine, I asked if I could come pick it up in person. They of course said yes. Then they gave me a $10 tour. I spent 3 of the best hours of my life hanging out with Mike and the crew. These guys are awesome, and their craftsmanship is impeccable. I love what you're doing, pal. Keep up the good work, Gill. Now, what he doesn't say is that he gives me hell in the Discord. Gill is very active in the Discord. He's a Patreon supporter. Thank you, Gill, or Michael. I don't know what you want me to call you. But anyway, he's been very active in the Discord. He's been selling stuff in the classifieds, getting rid of stuff he doesn't want for stuff that so he can fund purchases for new things. He's just an awesome dude, and I want to support him if I can. So if he does ever launch his YouTube channel and doesn't just talk about it forever, go subscribe to him. He may not ever launch it. I don't know. Maybe he's just telling his wife that he's buying all this because he's starting a YouTube channel, and then he'll never start it, and then it'll be forgotten about. It'll be swept under the carpet. No, I'm kidding. I'm just giving him a hard time because that's what he does to me. But really great carry here. I've seen you acquire most of this gear, other than some of the you had some of these things before, obviously. But I've watched your journey through getting all of these knives, such as buying the Fox Knife Suru and then selling it immediately to get a sheepdog. Like, that was a thing that happened. I love the sheepdog, and I've been eyeing Ferrum Forge for a long time. But my problem with the Mastrop Ferrum Forge, as you know, and a lot of the people in the Discord already know, I don't like the Mastrop logo on the blade. Like, it kills me. It's just not a pretty logo. If it were pretty, or at least somewhat better than just the word Mastrop, I wouldn't mind it. But the whole word on the blade just kind of, I don't know, it rubs me the wrong way. Anyway, thank you, Michael, for submitting so many times. Glad I could finally get you in one of these, and you now have a second entry into this month's giveaway. All right, I guess it's time for me to tell you how you can win a Lum-Tec ruck with the BESTDAMN EDC logo on it, and we're gonna do the same thing, except we're gonna pick different numbers. We're gonna mix it up just a little bit. So I want you to choose a number between 999 and 2000, and the first person to guess it or get the closest will win a Lum-Tec ruck. That's it. 999 to 2000. Guess your number. Game on. Whew. This one's something. And I'm going to probably struggle through some of these items because they are so obscure that they're hard to find, and I'm not familiar with the brands or the companies or the makers, so just bear with me through this one. It comes from Benjamin Pingleton. You can find him over on Instagram at jammin_101_wolf. I actually shared this over on Instagram today, earlier, right before I shot this video. Man, this carry is something. It's another one of those that it's just like, wow. It makes you stop and think, wow, this guy put a lot of effort into this. It's a really sick carry. And first up, we have a frosted titanium Boss 70. That is the flashlight in the left of the photo. And attached to that is a Still Flame Silver Warrior clip. It has ruby eyes to match the red secondary on the Boss. The pry bar next to that is the Raptor Bird of Pry in ATI 425 MIL. That is strike plate titanium. The brand, I don't remember. It's Vosoferin Raptor Bird of Pry. I don't know how it's pronounced, but that was a Kickstarter project. The pin next to that is the Fellholter Fluted TI Bolt in Battleground finish, and on that is also a Still Flame clip. That is the Warrior Hinderer clip. His watch of choice is the Lum-Tec Combat B. He also has a black NATO strap on that. And his knife that you see here, the first knife, the flipper, is the Koenig Eris Gen 3, which was modified by Sean Campbell. And the other knife on the far right of the photo is the Northwoods Fremont Jack in green micarta. And underneath everything is a Hanks by Hank handkerchief in a map version. So like I said, this carry is really, it's honestly ridiculous, because I was looking up these flashlights, and this Boss flashlight, I don't know this in particular, but just the body of the flashlight can be over $200 for just the body. Yeah. That's about the same for everything else you see here, except for maybe the Northwoods. Everything here is ridiculously expensive, but really, really cool gear. Also not pictured, I forgot to mention this, he has not pictured an iPhone 10, a Picker's wallet by WP Standard, the Big Idea Designs TPC, which is titanium pocket clip with the light embedded in it, an Ovo Designs Tritium lantern, a tile, and a Corsair 128GB Voyager. He says, I don't usually carry my keys on my person and the wallet didn't fit this theme, but I will be upgrading something soon, so look for that in the future. I think if I had to highlight one thing that helps me most every day, it would be my Boss light. I've owned many flashlights before, but once I held my first Boss, I never went back. I sold all of my other flashlights and have just upgraded Bosses when they've released new materials or finishes. Carrying a backup traditional knife is a new thing for me, but I'm really digging the Northwoods Jack. If I ever find myself in a crowded setting, I find the two-handed opening of the Northwoods doesn't scare people around me. I'm very excited because I recently acquired this fluted Battleground finish TI bolt, which has been my grail pin for quite a while. Also not pictured is the leather sheaths for the Bird of Pry and the Northwoods Jack. These can be seen on a story highlight on my Instagram titled How I EDC. I love Northwoods knives. I want one really, really bad. And I don't need to buy another knife right now, but those are the knives like Northwoods. Oof, I love the way they look, and I'm on a micarta kick, and that knife right there just, it grabs me, and I want one really bad right now. This whole carry is really sick. So thank you for sharing, Benjamin. You now have a second entry into this month's giveaway. Our fifth and final carry this week comes from Alex Wheatley. You can find him over on Instagram at the_narrow_gent. And first up, we have the homemade handkerchief to the left of the photo, as well as a Zeiss microfiber cloth. He also carries a Field Notes notebook in craft paper underneath. He also carries the Olight i3T EOS, and he carries a Hitch and Timber EDC pocket slip, and inside that he carries a Victorinox Cadet, as well as the Fisher Space Pen Bullet in matte black. He has a gold wedding band, which is sitting on top of the Colonel Littleton front pocket wallet, and next to that is his knife of choice, the Benchmade Mini Griptilian, and then finally the watch of choice here is the Seiko SARB033. So contrasting a little bit from the previous carry, which is just over the top, this right here is high value stuff that doesn't break the bank. Like the Mini Grip isn't the cheapest knife ever, but you're getting high value out of the money you're putting into that knife. And the same goes with the Hitch and Timber stuff, the Seiko watch. This is stuff that's attainable, but not gonna break the bank. It'll be a couple of $100s, but it's stuff that you can carry for a decade, 2 decades, and it's going to be perfectly fine. The only reason that you would swap this stuff out is a freak accident, or if something does fail and that's just the way life goes sometimes. But really, honestly, the main reason you would probably swap out anything in this photo is because you just got tired of it or you wanted something different. So anyway, Alex says, I recently purchased this entire kit with the intention of passing it down one day. Exactly. Actually, I didn't even read this description, but that is exactly my point. This is the stuff that you can buy and give to your children. My wife just delivered our first child, a boy, and I had all of this on me when he was born. It will all go to him one day. That's really neat. And congratulations. The handkerchief is for the nose and sweat, and the microfiber cloth is for cleaning screens. I usually have a black one on me, but this was what was available when we left for the hospital. I use the field notes and pen to keep track of lists or messages I want to teach my son. The light comes in handy when I have to make sure nothing has fallen under a table, particularly helpful in the hospital. And the cadet is great for cutting tape. I am from Tennessee originally, so the wallet is a tie to home and away, and is very light in the pocket. I use the mini grip for most cutting tasks, and it will be a great knife to pass down, and I prefer the feel and sentiment of mechanical timepiece. My dad and I love watches, especially one that hand winds like this one. That's really neat, man. And again, congratulations. I'm coming up on the birth of my first child, my daughter, which feels so crazy to say. She's expected to be here within the next 2 months, and I'm so excited. I'm so nervous. This one hits home for me because I am about to have a child, and I love the idea of you getting stuff that you're going to cherish and use and abuse and hand it down, and it'll still function just fine for your children. I love that sentiment. I think that's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Alex, and you now have a second entry into this month's giveaway. That's going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that thumbs up button below and subscribe to see more stuff like this every week. I do this show every single Friday. I also do other EDC videos throughout the week. And if you want to be notified when I upload those videos, hit that notification bell down below. And if you want to support what I'm doing here, click those links in the description. I link every single product that I talk about in any of these videos. They're all linked below. And if you click through and read more, or you purchase anything, that gives us a little bit of a kickback without costing you any extra money. They're all affiliate links, or at least most of them are. And if you want to support us in another way, you can go to patreon.com/BestDamnEDC. And be sure to follow us around the web. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at BestDamnEDC. You can find me, Taylor Martin, on Twitter and Instagram at CasperTech. And until next time, carry on.